Academics are really important, especially in the whole college and recruiting process. If you could have all the talent in the world, but if you have bad grades, if you're messing around, coaches don't want to see that. Mm-hmm. They won't recruit you. They'll just go get another kid.
Hey, line for line, ain't no comp in this rap neither.
You waiting line for line and keep doing numbers. I gave them the game, trust we lit for the summer. Got doctors and artists and athletic speakers. Come learn from my come up, I'm better than people. I'm in love with the grind. I'm in love with the culture. Do this for the fam. Do this for Kenosha. You know I got you, Kenosha. If you got the vision, then come a little closer. Let's get it together. Line for line with the soldiers. I'm in love with the grind. I'm in love with the culture. Do this for the fam. Do this for
All right. Just like that, we're back in another very special episode of Line for Line podcast. We have a very special guest in the building today. We have Mr. Reymundo Garibay in the building today. Raymundo, how you feeling today?
Feeling great.
Good. This Saturday treating you well?
Yeah.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen at home, we got one of the St. Joe's Lancers greats of all time in the building, and this kid is only a sophomore doing it big as well, too. When we start Line for Line, Raymundo, we like to do the most cliche thing ever. We like the guests to tell the world just a little bit about them. So the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. I'm Reymundo Garibay, 15 years old, sophomore at St. Joe's. I play basketball, have a 4.0 GPA.
Now, a lot of people at home want to know, what made you decide to pick up a basketball? Who were a couple of your influencers who got you there, the work that you put in, things of that nature? Yeah,
well, I always played multiple sports as a kid. And, I think just going to the rec, I used to see, when I was younger, I used to see, other high school people at the time, and that inspired me. Mm-hmm. Like, you see Elijah Griffin, all these other hoopers. They really had a impact on me. And that made me take the game very serious because I wanted to be like them. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it just took off from there. I fell in love with the game and been playing ever since.
Of course. Now, we know you're 15, you're a sophomore, but you're on varsity already as well, too.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the trials and tribulations that it took to get you to being a sophomore on varsity?
Well, yeah, it's been very tough because I was a freshman starting on varsity, too. Mm-hmm. So, it's definitely a big jump from middle school to high school. Obviously, with the physical part of the game, but also the mental toughness. You have a couple bad games, your confidence goes up and down. So it's really helped me build my mental toughness up, and yeah.
Cool. Now, with you being year 2 in the program, sophomore on varsity, can you just tell us a little bit about it? Since you're a vet now, technically, how is it that you're leading the guys, even though some of the guys may even be older than you, sir?
Yeah, this year I've been taking the leadership role very serious. Even though I'm still technically a lower classman, I've been like you said, I've been in the program long enough to be a leader. Mm-hmm. So, just huddling the guys together, having bonding with the guys, holding people accountable is another thing in our program. Not taking possessions off is important. So,
of course. Yeah. Now, you guys had a game last night. Who did you guys play last night?
Oh, yeah, we played Dominican.
How'd that go for you guys?
It was a good game. The Metro Conference is very tough. You can't count out any team So we knew it was going to be a good game. It was going back and forth, and we ended up getting the W. Mm-hmm. And we won by 10 points. But
oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
But it was a close, competitive game.
What was your stat line looking like, young man? Tell the world.
I had 15 points. I know I had a lot of rebounds, and I was playing good defense.
Of course. Yeah. Now, can you speak a little bit to the type of player that you are out there on the court when you're out there?
Yeah, I'm a 3-level scorer. I'm a great shooter, I would say. A point guard. I play good defense, and I'm a leader on the court. Mm-hmm. I bring that energy that we need. I get us hyped before the game. And yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, when it comes to the NBA basketball, are there any point guards out there that you like watching, or that you maybe even grew up watching and you maybe idolize, imitated?
I actually think Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
Is one because he's from Chicago, and he used to play with Mac Irvin Fire.
Yeah.
And I actually played with Mac Irvin 2 years ago in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would compare. I think we have similar game styles, and that's one of my favorite point guards. Me and my dad always like watching the Knicks, so I like Jalen Brunson.
Nice. Now, speaking of your dad, was he one of your influencers when it comes to the game of basketball?
Oh yeah, he was definitely my parents were definitely one of my biggest influencers. Okay. He's always been there for me. He's always giving me advice after games. He's always teaching me lessons. He's always there for me.
Of course. Now, when basketball season is not in, what are some things that you're doing to keep yourself basketball shape?
Oh, in the off season, I'm in the gym every day. You know, I'm in the weight room. I'm trying to get more explosive, more faster, to help me with my game. Like, I be training with Henry Correa to focus on my body. And I go in the morning to the rec usually to get shots up and just keep my game sharp.
Now, do you play with any club teams as well?
This AAU season I'm playing with Elevate. It was actually just announced like a couple of days ago on Instagram. They're out of like Lake Forest, Illinois. So not a far drive at all.
Of course.
And we're on the Under Armour circuit.
Nice. How did that come into fruition? You committing with them?
Well, I did. They had like a fall program, like little fall workouts, and I was invited. And after, it was probably like 5 weeks, like we were doing it. And after like playing with the guys and seeing like the type of players that were going to be on the team, I definitely felt like it was a great fit. I felt like my role, I was going to have a big role. And I felt like the coaches believed in me. And that's really what helped my decision.
Of course. Now, this next question is going to be a really real-worthy question right here, because this is something that the youth need out here in Kenosha, because sometimes it seems like the youth can be a little bit lost. But you said that you're 4.0 GPA. Can you just speak a little bit to how academics has to come into play more so than that actual athletics? Well,
yeah, academics are really important, especially in the whole college and recruiting process. You know, if you could have all the talent in the world, but if you have bad grades, if you're messing around, coaches don't want to see that. They won't recruit you. They'll just go get another kid with the same talent.
Of course.
And also, my parents always stressed to me how important school is, and they always tell me you got to have a plan B. You know, like you said, you can have all the talent, you tear your ACL, you can never recover, and you need that education because you need a plan B.
Of course.
And and you got to use basketball. Like, you could get a free education just from basketball.
Of course.
And there's so many careers you could explore through that free education.
Of course. What are some things that you're looking at possibly for your plan B when it comes to schooling, things that you like doing?
That's actually something I'm still considering right now. I know next year, junior year, is when I'm talking to the counselor more about like different options. But right now, I'm still trying to find it.
Yeah. What are some things that you like doing? Tell us a little bit about Raymundo, the person outside of basketball.
I would say, like, hanging out with my friends. You know, I don't really know what careers yet, but obviously there's like some like engineers. There's law enforcement. Of course, stuff I would like doing. But yeah, I'm really just a chill person. I would describe myself as funny, determined. And basketball is my life. Sports are my life. But, you know, you also got to put that aside sometimes and just go have fun.
Of course.
You know, you could watch movies. Like, I like to watch a lot of stuff with my parents. I usually spend a lot of time with my parents.
Of course. Now, when it comes to the game of basketball and the school of St. Joe's, what would you say you want to be remembered for once your time is up at St. Joe's?
Yeah, well, obviously, what you do on the basketball court is big. But something that I want to be remembered for is inspiring the youth. Because I think that's really important because, you know, we obviously have all the middle schoolers that come to our games. You know, they're all like, I know all of them. And I just want to inspire them so that by the time they reach high school, that they're determined, they take the game serious, they want to be like me. And so the future could look bright.
Of course. With you having the 4.0 GPA, that speaks volumes right there, you know, because you got to understand, like, the youth, they're so impersonable. Like, they're looking at the next person. Like you mentioned, watching Elijah Griffin. People are going to be coming through saying, oh, we grew up watching Reymundo Garibay. But the biggest thing for us was seeing how serious he took school and how he was focused in the classroom, how he was the first one into the weight room, the last one to leave, you know, how he lifted the guys up, you know, and just listening to you talk, like, that's definitely the vibe that I'm getting, that's the type of person you are. And I want to keep pushing you and say, hey, keep doing that, because that takes you places that other things cannot take you. Just having that character and being resilient that way as well too, sir. Seriously. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Of course. That's what we're here for when it comes to Line for Line podcast. Is this like one of your first interviews?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my first interviews.
Yeah.
I've done like one other, but this is definitely one. And I want to say thank you again for bringing me and letting me share my story, my experiences. And
as we get ready to close out this phenomenal episode, what will be that one piece of advice that you want to leave to the up and coming basketball players who are coming through St. Joe's, Bradford, or wherever the case may be? What piece of advice would you leave them with?
I would tell them that you got to take the game very seriously. That, you know, obviously grades are very important too. And like you hear all the time, the game is mental. You really gotta, because you know your mental health, your mental toughness, it's always gonna be going up and down. But you can't let the mistakes get to you, because that's I feel like that's one of the most important things in basketball. Like, pretend you missed a shot and you're scared to shoot the next one. I would say that's very important. And I would also say, like, for the young kids that like that are wondering about like high school basketball, I would tell them just go to a program or go to a school where you know like the coaches believe in you, where you know you're gonna have a big role, and where you're gonna feel valued and where you're gonna feel most comfortable.
Of course, of course. Also, one last thing as we close out, can you just tell us a little bit about what it was like being the freshman starting on varsity, then going to being a sophomore starting on varsity, going up against kids that are 16, 17 years old, sometimes even 18 as they get ready to end their scholastic career?
Well, yeah, I was 14 years old, and I was playing against juniors and seniors, and you know, always thinking about playing varsity. You know, I always thought I was ready, but like when the moment was finally there, I was like, wow, you know, it's here. So I feel like also the first game also helped me because I had 18 points my first ever varsity game. Yeah. What? So that really showed like that I belonged there. But like you said, like it's not all like just about, you know, positives. You know, you're also gonna go through some struggles, definitely. Like, so yeah, it's gonna be ups and downs, but you got to keep pushing.
Of course. And
you gotta stay in the gym. You can't get distracted. That's another one. And yeah.
Did you ever have any jitters, any nervousness going out there, getting ready to step out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be jitters, even before like games as a sophomore, especially when you play big. There's big crowds, big atmospheres, big teams, but you gotta trust your work. And you got to know that you prepared for this moment.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first on Line for Line podcast. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker, and that was Reymundo Garibay. Thank you, Raymundo, for having some time for us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going live.